Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. And, well, it's been a week since we last went racing, and that was 7 days ago. And, well, today it is a completely different story. We got 20 cars in the lobby tonight. That is absolutely sensational, as always. But last time out, what a round. We had some real drama on that last lap, but here are your standings as we head into Imola. After just one round, it is Team Exeter right at the top of the time sheet. Not time sheet, the standings. There we go. With 38 points. TTM on 36 and ET8 there on 32. So a close contest between the top three teams as we stand. But CPI in fourth on 23. Tied there with TF10, who are in fifth. Iberia Racing there in sixth. Grand Track 10 on 20 points in P7. IRT 10 points. They could have been on for a lot more. Avisio Racing on 8, and then Optimum Velocity Racing there with 3 points in 10th place in the standings. But in terms of what we've got coming up, we have plenty more racing action. Saudi Arabia follows the round tonight in Imola. Azerbaijan, then a mystery round. The Netherlands, a break week. Belgium, Qatar, Las Vegas, a further mystery round. And Hungary and Japan to round out this season. In terms of where we're going racing tonight, it is the lovely Autodromo Endino Ferrari, also known as Imola, as we like to condense it to. And yeah, nicely situated right close to Ferrari's territory of well, Maranello is the lovely Imola circuit. Hosted many famous Formula 1 races, and we're certainly going to be making some famous moments tonight. But it's going to be absolutely brilliant to see what is going on. Well, lovely to see so many of you here nice and early on in the stream. And, well, indeed, good luck to IRT. And, well, going to be interesting to see, you know, what's going on as we gear up towards, well, the start of this qualifying session and the race that we've got going up ahead. So do let me know in the chat which one of our teams you are cheering on, because it's going to be interesting to really see what we've got going on, because, yeah, good to keep in touch with this amazing community we've got. I mean, it's lovely, as I said, to see so many of you coming up into the chat, onto our transition to YouTube. It's just absolutely brilliant. It's what we want to see. And, well, I'm hearing the sound of qualifying about to start, which means we're just a couple moments away from these cars hitting that racetrack and getting this weekend, or, well, this day of action underway. And that's exactly what we want to see. So, it is time to see Imola for the very first time. And, well, it's going to be brilliant. This track, so iconic. Such a brilliant track to race on. A bit difficult to overtake, but if you can get the balls and you've got the speed, it's absolutely worth doing. So, let's have a look. Nearly there. Everyone's just getting sorted. And they've got to throw their setups on, but in only a few moments' time, we're going to be ready to race and hit that racetrack. But only a couple of seconds left, waiting for the last couple people to load, of course. So it's always the way in Formula, well, in any form of league racing. That, you know, it takes a little bit while sometimes for some people to connect. I can turn my mic up. I actually turned it down. I thought it was a bit too quiet, funnily enough, but interesting. There you go. Turn it up. Nice. Lovely jubbly. Exactly what we want. And now, let's get some action. Let's get some racing. Well, welcome to Imola. What a circuit we have in store for you tonight. I mean, it has not got much better than here. I mean, such a great race circuit to keep tabs on. Just such a great circuit to be part of. You notice all the cars coming out that pit lane ghosted. Just getting with that slipstream. We don't like seeing that all the time, but it'll be very good to really see what's going on. And in terms of track conditions, the graphics decided not to work. So let's have a look and see. It's still not working. Weird. Right, whilst I try and fix the graphic, the cars hit the track. Interesting to see what is going on with my telemetry. Right. There we go. Are we working? There we go. Working at long last, and that is the weather for this track condition. It's looking absolutely beautiful. No worries of rain at all in this session and well, going to be getting these laps underway very, very nicely and very quickly indeed. It is a quick circuit, so got to keep your wits about you when it comes to getting onto that racetrack, getting that all-important lap time in. I'm noticing I'm not getting any audio. I hope you guys are, because it's not working for me. I think you are. I'm just not. You know, it is what it is sometimes. It doesn't always work, does it? But, nonetheless, we are in for an absolute amazing round of racing. And, well, it's got the first couple of laps coming up in the next couple of seconds. I'm going to try sort my headset out, because it's really not working for me right now. I cannot hear any audio at all. So give me 2 seconds, but noticing these first flying laps getting underway. And, wow. Going to be really interesting to see these first couple laps and see how they progress for all of these drivers. Now I've got audio, and OVR Lucas hits the track and begins a flying lap of the circuit of Imola. Such a tricky and technical circuit. You'll notice these corners, really tricky chicanes here. Really easy to invalidate that lap time, especially here on the exit of turn number 4. Nice hairpin here, missing the apex as slightly. Run it as wide as you can on the exit. This is all about carrying that entry and exit speed a lot around here. How much do you dare use and abuse these curves? But these first couple laps, it's going to be a lot of not pushing the limit to the absolute maximum. Really about just getting a lap time on the board nice and early. Gatkowski there, top of the time sheet to 1:13.658. Good lap time from him. Lucas, though, not looking too shabby at all as we come into that sector 3. And, well, Lucas is on a decent lap. Paul, though, goes into second place. I'm noticing the rear really not working in Lucas's favour there on the initial flying lap, but comes up to the line anyway and goes 6th place as things stand. But there's going to be plenty of wiggle room on the times we get through this session, because it is anyone's guess as to how this qualifying session pans out. Eric Kogan, though, he's on the mediums, interestingly, for this opening lap. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what that impact is. You know, and it's a massive impact that these tyres could have in terms of lap time. He's invalidated on his lap, but, you know, will have a profound impact on the ultimate performance of that car. The grip you've got just going to be that little bit less if you aren't able to keep it on the road. But we're getting through this qualifying session very nicely indeed. And well, once we got through this, it's going to be really an interesting thing to see where we are when it comes to the end of this race, because there's a lot of drivers that you might expect to be up there, but just because you expect them to be there does not mean that they will. As we see Latifi into the pit lane, most drivers into the pit lane, minus IRT Claudio, who goes 8th place. So a good start for him on his opening laps of the session, but most of the field back into that pit lane, and that's interesting to see, you know, in terms of how these drivers are doing in this session. But let's have a little look at what we've got going on as Gatkowski resurfaces onto the racetrack, and it's going to be interesting. Gatkowski obviously leading the way as things stand with a good lap time at 1:13.658. It's going to be interesting to see how that lap time maybe tumbles towards the end of this session, because you know, these lap times will only get quicker here. We're not getting a wet track at all, so we haven't got to worry about the grip levels going down at all. So, let's have a little look at what we've got, because, you know, these drivers are going to be really pushing the boat out in terms of that ultimate lap time and performance that they're going to be able to get out of these cars, as we are going to get these second laps going very quickly, surprisingly a bit quicker than I might have thought, but these drivers, they know what they want to do. They've got that strategy in their mind, and well, they are going to be absolutely keeping on top of this. So, your current leader in terms of this qualifying session, about to begin his second lap time, and well, this could be a decisive lap time in the event that he's not able to improve, because if he's not able to, then it's gonna be a big detriment to his qualifying session. But there's a jumper there in the form of Matthias, who goes up to 6th place. And that's a good lap time from him in this qualifying session. And well, we've got so much kind of things going on up and down the order that it will be really anyone's game come the end of this session. It always is the case, though, that, you know, anyone could be there, as you know, Gatkowski has invalidated on his lap time, but now Spanias is seeming to be on a laptop at the moment. He isn't improving either. Not many improvements at the moment, but Jamie is improving. A purple sector 1 is a good start to a lap time for him, as now everyone is gonna really begin to maybe try and do a little bit of upsetting in this session. Hopefully, for their sake, they're going to be getting some real good lap times on the board now, because we are getting towards that, you know, a good point in this qualifying session to show that ultimate pace. And well, as we head with Jamie into towards the end of this lap time and through turn number 15 here of this Imola circuit, now turn 16, which isn't even really a turn. He comes into, you know, he doesn't come into the pit lane. He does improve, but not by enough to go top of the timesheet. So unfortunately for Jamie, not what he maybe would have wanted, but it's going to be interesting to see, as ET8 Paul is on an absolute barnstormer. It's a purple sector 2 for Paul. He could be about to set the timing sheet alight. Where will he jump in his qualifying session? He's got 2 temps improvement. He'll come up to the line now. Where will he jump up to? It is the top of the timesheet for ET8 Paul, who absolutely takes it to the top. And what a lap time for him. A great start to his qualifying session. I really have to check that all of these drivers are actually racing for that team, because they really do like to confuse me when it comes to who they're submitting. But real good stuff, as we really are getting some very good lap times at this point in qualifying. And well, Paul is a real example of that. Great, real good lap time, and well, you cannot ask for anything more than that from a man who has delivered such excellence in the past in terms of lap time and performance. And yeah, great start for Paul. And you know, we've got 8 minutes to go in qualifying, and it could be, you know, a real sign of things to come, because he is just doing such a good job right now in terms of what he's just delivered for his team. I have got here that it could start to rain in about 10 minutes time. So we could have a bit of rain right at the death of this qualifying session. In fact, I'm seeing rain on the screen now. That's concerning for these drivers who maybe want to get a better lap time in, because that opportunity is going to absolutely shrink. Wow. Okay, interesting. Add some spice into the mix, because all of a sudden a curveball has been well and truly thrown. The track is going to be getting wetter from here. We saw it at the start of the session, wasn't set to rain, but come the end of it, the heavens have opened. What is going on in this qualifying session? The weather graphic was wrong, the predictions were wrong. It's raining here in Imola. What a unlikely surprise. And hello, Connor. Hello, Connor. Wow. Mr. PSGL owner coming and watching his bestie, obviously. I am obviously. But qualifying has got a real surprise here. What an interesting addition to this qualifying session. Eric Cohen, by the way, is 20th here, and chat was really vouching for him. And you know, it was said, Eric Cohen, time is now, but for him at the moment, he's 20th of them all, so unless he's going to be doing a last to first as things stand, he needs to get a very decent lap time on the board, whilst it's still some resemblance of dry, but it is going to start to lose that grip very quickly and very soon, so his lap time needs to be decent here from Eric Cohen, as he'll go through Sector 2 and, well, into Sector number 3, but the lap time isn't looking the best, if I'm honest. It doesn't look like this is going to be a lap time to take him to the top of the timesheets. It does seem the sky has lightened up a little bit, but despite that, it doesn't really seem that it's going to, you know, get dry, as Eric Cohen can't improve and is 6 tenths behind the next fastest driver. Surely there is no sign of improvement on this circuit. Qualifying is surely over, but OVR Lucas, he's deciding he's going to try, and I do not blame the attempt either. At this point, you know, anything really is possible, you know, and the rain can throw such a huge surprise into this mix. So let's see what happens. OVR Lucas could be either a genius or could be seen as a little bit of a, I wouldn't say idiot, but, you know, maybe doing what's not necessary in a, well, that Sector 1 time certainly suggests that the track is well past its best. We have 4.5 minutes left on the clock and everyone is starting to retire. The track is not in a usable window. It is going to be ET8 Paul on pole position for this race. I mean, anticlimactic, sure, but the rain really came from nowhere. That is very interesting. The heavens just opened and gave no warning or indication whatsoever. That is absurd. Wow. Qualifying pretty much over here in Imola. That is an interesting bit of spice to us at the qualifying session that maybe I wasn't expecting at all. Yeah, absolutely interesting scenes here. Absolutely going to be really interesting to see what comes of this. Once we get the action underway for this race, we will have, I believe, a mandatory lobby restart. We had that last time out, so I believe we're going to have one once again, but that is definitely an interesting qualifying session, and one that some teams are going to love, and another one that some teams are very much going to be hating. Yeah, I mean, where do you even begin to start? Interesting scenes, but we got 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and no one's really going to be doing anything in the realms of good lap times, but some inter-running maybe to see what it's going to be a bit like. If the rain has some rain, if the race has some rain, if I can word, we will definitely see those intermediate tyres coming out. And yes, it'll be really interesting to see as I begin to correct my lovely spreadsheet with all the correct teams, because apparently they can't put teams in their usernames for some reason, which is annoying, but we move. But, I mean, just such an interesting qualifying session. Really not sure where to begin to unpack that one. It's very difficult when the qualifying session is almost hampered a little bit by that rain, but at the end of the day, it's not the rain's fault that the qualifying session didn't go the way that some people may have wanted, but it certainly did play its part, and I decided to, maybe take a little bit of a moment, shake up that grid order, especially the man in P20, Eric Cohen. You've got to feel bad for him, unfortunately. Just nothing he could really do either. So, going to be a difficult one for him come the race. Which, once that does happen, it really is going to be a difficult one for that man in P20. But who knows what the race may spring in terms of surprises. We've seen plenty of surprises already in this race weekend. What more is on the horizon? Well, it is anyone's guess, but it is qualifying over in Imola, and it is ET8 Paul on pole position for this race. I mean, an interesting one. Really difficult to digest this qualifying session because you haven't really got an indication as to pace or where these drivers can really stand and show their pedigree, just because they've not been able to really show that level of knowledge and understanding, which they all have. But they weren't able to put it into action right at the end of the session, which is really disappointing in my opinion. It's so great to see them push the car on the limit right at the end, but the rain really was a dampener on that one. But the qualifying results do have ET8 Paul on pole position, followed by Gatkowski, Enzo, Nick, Lucas, Nam for EXT, Claudio, IRT, Spanias for ETA, EVE with Latifi, and TF10 with Vazquid right at the death of that one. But as I said, so difficult to kind of digest and process a qualifying session that you don't really feel like it got up and running, because that kind of rain really did come down, I suppose, a bad time for many. But hey, we can't do much more than what the gods in heavens present. So we've got a race to look forward to. Let me know in that Twitch chat. Not Twitch chat. We've been on YouTube for a little while and I still can't get it right. Let me know in the YouTube chat how you thought that qualifying session. Was it hot or was it not? The answer is probably that you may not have found that the most enjoyable, but trust me, this race is going to be very, very enjoyable indeed. We've got a real good race ahead of us. We have got a demolition derby to watch because I believe, yes, everyone is ghosted, so we're going to have a lobby restart. But hey, we love watching a demolition derby. All of the crashes, all of the carnage. What more can you ask for? And well, only about 6 cars made it, and actually about 4 made it to turn 1. So that is what we love to see when it comes to demolition derby. And well, TTM Nick gonna win. Oh, won't win the demolition derby Grand Prix, as Latifi and Eric Cohen there do dart around the track. Noticing that Latifi is the only one seemingly going. Would they like to get would they like to retire or DNF? That would be really ideal, but qualifying all done and dusted, and we've got a real interesting race coming up in a little while. But yeah, really going to be a good one to, you know, see what goes on in this race. We've got a real, as I said, good race ahead of us. It's just a little bit disappointing to see what happened in that qualifying session. The rain coming down, it's always difficult, but gonna get that all sorted and everything sorted. So just gonna give out some mentions to the amazing 30 people that we got in that YouTube chat right now. Got some nice comments coming in for EVE ET8 getting pole in 2 divisions. It is a real good sight to see. Alex in chat just with W's. That is nice to see that support. Vamos IRT and LDL. Vamos from Sabucha. And Sky Knight. Paul is goated. Paul is indeed goated. But the Demolition Derby done and dusted. And this lobby gonna get restarted, reset, and, well, re-geared up for this race. But just as a reminder for where we are going into this round, it is, well, Team Exeter at the top of the standings, followed by TTM, ET8, CPI, TF10, Iberia Racing, Grand Track 10, IRT, Evisio Racing, and Optimum Velocity Racing in P10. And your points there on the right-hand side. Real close contest for those top 5, well, top 6, really. Actually, top 7, wow. I didn't realise quite how close these standings were until I've just looked back at them for the second time. And, well, you know, going into this second race, anyone could come out leading. Absolutely. It's so early to tell, you know, just because you're last does not mean you're going to be that come the end of this round. So going to be really interesting to see. It's great to just see so many people in the YouTube chat, so many people just keeping in this lobby and in this chat as well. It's really just so nice to really get this feel for, and this nice atmosphere that we got going. And well, in a couple of moments we're going to have that all-important race that everyone you know, is going to be really craving. I mean, I'm so excited for this race. Imola just always springs up a surprise. It always springs up some chaos and carnage. And I'm here for it, if I'm perfectly honest. I am so here for it. So let's see what the race holds in a couple of moments' time. But just in case you're joining us now, the rundown of your qualifying results have ET8 Paul on pole position for this race, followed by Datkowski, Enzo, Nick, Lucas, Nam, Claudio, Spanius, Latifi, and Yatsk in 10th. And, well, got a real interesting top 10 here. Some drivers who you might expect to be up there, not in that top 10. Jamie, I think, a real shame. He's in 11th. And then also Eric Cohen down there in 20th. A real disappointment for, I think, those drivers. But going to be great to see the action when we get underway in a couple of moments' time. We're just getting the lobby set up and sorted so that once we go racing, no problems and carnage at all. So just get your predictions in. Who do you think has got this race win? Who do you think has got a good chance of leading the championship at the other end of this one? Because I want to hear every single person put a prediction into that chat. We're not going to go to the race until I've got 29 responses. So get typing. But it's going to be such a good race. I've got no doubt about that one. We're just waiting for the lobby order for the grid to be all set up. And Latifi and Matthias, 1-2. That is a shout. That is a real interesting shout there from Onodell in the chat. So, gonna be interesting, as I said, to see what's presented to us, you know, in terms of the weather. It's going to be dynamic, so it could be anything, and that's the important thing as well. The weather could spring up any surprise, and we have to roll with those punches no matter what happens when those lights go out. And so will the drivers. And that's going to be an important one as well. How do these drivers react to that scenario, that situation? It's always difficult to judge, you know, how things are going to go until you're there in the moment, dealing with that weather predicament or, you know, damage to your wing. Until it happens, you've got no idea how you're going to deal with it. But let's take a moment and a little bit of a breather. It does seem like the lobby is nearing its completion. And, well, once we reach the Tamburello chicane on lap number 1, who will be leading? Will it be ET8 Paul or will it be Gatkowski for CPI, who lines up alongside on that front row of the grid? It's anyone's guess as we really build up towards the start of this race. I am very apologetic for the wait, but I don't control the wait time. I just control the broadcast. So, complaints not to me. But nonetheless, really interesting. So, really interesting. The PS drivers are being told it's really interesting to see the chat in what's going on and how things are. Well, the driver is being told to ready up. And, well, that is what we love to see. Drivers readying up and getting underway for the race. So, we've got about a minute until the lights go out in Imola. And, well, what a race we've got ahead of us at the circuit to Enzo Ino Ferrari. And, well, that breather is going to be needed as the drivers run down to turn number 1, because it can get chaotic. And it will get chaotic, no doubt about that one. The track that we're racing at today, well, a brilliant track. One DRS zone, but a very long one at that. And, well, some great overtaking opportunities into turn 2, turn 7, if you're feeling very ballsy, but also the final couple of corners on the track do provide opportunities to go side by side. That is turn 13 and 14. Nope, I'm completely wrong. It's turn 17 and 18. Look, we ignore everything I say, surely, at this point. But a track length of 3 miles and plenty of laps ahead of us does mean we're going to have a real good race on our hands. And I can say we've only got a few moments until we are going to be going racing. And what a race we are going to have. And it starts dry. But will it stay dry is the question, because you never know when it comes to league racing. Just because it says one thing does not mean it's going to stay that way. But it will be very much interesting to see what we're going to get once these lights do go out in a couple of moments' time. But the driver's now going to put their setup on, get their strategy hats on as well. And when the lights go out in a couple of moments' time, it will be time to go racing in Imola. Welcome to Italy. Welcome to one of the most iconic circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. And it is very nearly time to hit the track once more. But this moment, very much one of anticipation. That run down towards turn number 1 going to be so crucial to pinpoint exactly and get that braking point lovely and sorted when it does come to it. But as we wait. Only a couple of seconds. And once the waiting is over, it will be time for those 5 red lights to go on and out. But they're taking their time. Why not? It's going to be really interesting to see this run down into turn number 1. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a quick drink because I could really use it. Wow. They really are taking their time. I was expecting to get halfway through, having a little drink, and the lights to go on, and have to really struggle to get back in time to make that start. But fortunately for me, I suppose I was a little on the lucky side. But it is a bit of a shame that it takes sometimes so long for them to sort themselves out, but got to get that set up on, get that strategy sorted. Maybe have a little chat with their race engineer if they have one. That's an important conversation to have as well, just to make sure you know you're doing the right thing. What do we do if there's a safety car? Those sort of conversations important to have early on before those lights go out. But no one wanting to press start, no one wanting to get it underway just yet, but I think the signal is being given to ready up and get this racing underway. And hopefully now the lobby will all ready up simultaneously and will only be a couple of seconds until we go racing. It is a long wait. Ugh, I am really... Hello, Liam. Welcome. We're just waiting. We're waiting for these cars to stop dilly-dallying, if I'm perfectly honest. Here we go. It is time to go racing. 3, 4, 5 red lights here at Imola, and it is lights out and away we go. ETA Pool off to a good start here, as is Gatkowski, but a better start for Enzo as we head down towards turn number 1. Can TTM Enzo make that move down the inside? He cannot, but plenty of movement in behind as ILD. Claudio makes his way up into 7th place, but these drivers are doing a good start here in Imola, looking very well as we get the starting of this race underway, but we've got a lot of action to go. Lap number 1 firmly underway now. ETA Paul leads ahead of Gatkowski, Enzo, Nick, Lucas, Nam, Claudio, Vazquez, Latifi, Spanias and Wungish there in 11th place as Profit gets himself up into 16th place and gets himself an extra place and up into 15th place as well for Profit. A good start for them, but the action going to be very much all across the order as Nam very close to the back of OVR Lucas, but does not think about the move or overtake on that particular occasion. But there's plenty of occasions to make the moves and overtakes here. 32 laps in this race, and that's plenty of opportunity for carnage, chaos, and confusion as Nam gets themselves up into 5th place, as Enzo gets himself up into 2nd, and that's a good start for TTM. They've got a car in 2nd, they've got a car in 4th. It is all guns blazing for TTM. Everyone else, a little bit more of a struggle at the moment, but a bit of more struggle for Nam, starting on the hard compound tyres, losing the DRS of Nick ahead as well, and that is not ideal when you want to be getting a good race on your hand. If you're struggling behind, not in that DRS window, you're not getting much in terms of benefit there. But nonetheless, getting through lap number 2 very, very nicely indeed. And it's going to be good to see what is going on. Alex, if they're getting too mechanical, they are definitely very advanced, very crazy cars. Just so lucky that these are equal performance. Otherwise, that would be even more confusing trying to understand the development rate of these cars. But nonetheless, it is great to see as the action continues underway as Enzo sets a fastest lap of the race and probably is thinking about that move down the inside, but doesn't make it, and neither does Gatkowski. But Claudio does get himself ahead of Nam and Lucas obviously in that 5th place at the moment, also ahead of Nam as well. So really a lot of moving in the early stages of these races. Noticing that the driver in the pit lane, not a change of wing there actually for GT10 Boyalulu, but no real drivers getting a warning so far in this race. But Paul, a great job out in front at the moment to hold his position as well. We get through lap number 3 very nicely, and a lovely helicopter camera to really suit this race and how it's going so far. But the lovely ETA out in front at the moment, but TTM keeping very close on the back, and this could be a good overtaking opportunity. This straight, you will see a lot of moves down this straight here, and well, Enzo opens that rear wing, giving a few extra miles an hour, but the same might be able to be said here for Claudio, who has got himself ahead of OVR Lucas. Lucas there falling down to 7th place now, as Nam also loses a place to Latifi for EVE. So EVE on a good charge there with Latifi, as Nam loses yet another place and is down to 10th in this race at the moment. So really struggling on those hard compound tyres, whereas others aren't struggling quite as much, as Matthias for EVE loses a couple places there to Wingish and Kiki. So going to be interesting to see what they're able to do in their conquest to try and get further up the field. Points awarded to the top 15 in a competitive speed series, so very important to be in that top 15 at a bare minimum if you can. And well, now going to be very crucial to get every point on the board nice and early on, get that championship charge mounted, especially if you're TTM right now. A brilliant pool of points could be heading their way if things stay as they are, but lap 5 of 32, and it could be more points heading the way of TTM, as Enzo close to making the move on ETA Paul, and very much likely could have made that move had they not backed off. But that's the game you're playing in these early stages. I will show tyres, that's not a problem. Not allowed to actually show the ERS of the cars. The teams really hate it when we do that, apparently. I've been told the teams dislike it when we show the ERS, but there are your tyre compounds. The top 5 all on the medium compound tyre, then a gaggle of hard compound tyres, and then lots of medium. So a pretty plain choice. Likely strategy is the medium hard, the hard medium. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that yellow and white wool tyre. But it does not mean there is not an opportunity for anything else to happen in this race at all. But a 3-second time penalty for Profit is not a great way to get through the race if you're in the shoes of the OVR there. But Enzo once again just keeping close behind but not making that overtake. And yeah, it's interesting to see the strategies at play at the moment. as a little bit of a rear end slide there for Paul, but nothing of concern at the moment as the fastest sector 1 has gone the way of OVR Lucas. So maybe showing that the hard compound tyres are coming into their working window quite nicely now as the sector times are beginning to shift in the favour of that hard compound tyre. They can take a little while to warm up and really maximise that grip, but they will go very long into the race at the moment. But a faster sector 1 for OVR Lucas and a decent sector 2 as well. So definitely interesting to see what these cars are able to achieve as we're getting through this race very, very nicely at the moment. And OVR Lucas is trying to make some places whilst he can. And well, those hard compound tyres will give you the better compound towards the end, and finishing that lap. It's not a personal improvement, but that fastest sector 1, a real interesting thing to see as an invalidated lap time for EVE Latifi does mean that maybe a little bit of a wide moment that caused that lap time to be invalidated for him. But lap 7 of 32, Paul still leads. Enzo gaining a place versus Gatkowski. Nick remains in 4th. One of the big losers off the start of this race has been Nam. Really not the start that they would have wanted, but it's the start they've got. And it's the hand they've been dealt, so they've got to deal with it as it is. But look at the way that Vazquez here just runs wide on the exit. Gonna lose a place here to Claudio and maybe even EVE Latifi. Oh, it's a bit hairy, but EVE Latifi gets ahead. Is that damage to the front wing of this Williams here, TF10? That's not great for them because they are losing a lot of places. They're going to lose time in the pit lane here too. And see OVR Lucas battling with Spanias here as well as we head on to lap number 8. And you'll see Fast into the pit lane. Oh, and the rears having that lock-up moment there as well on the exit. Nearly going into the wall with the other side of the wing. That would not have been good at all if that had panned out. But a big moment in the race here. Damage for the man who was running 5th. That could definitely pave the way to a very different and interesting race. And that's the sort of moments that can really make or break your race in a competitive speed series. There's another time penalty going the way of Profit. Now up to 6 seconds of penalties. We're on lap 8. That is not what you want to see this early on in the race. But now, going to be interesting to see what happens from here. As now, plenty of drivers really getting into a real groove. A few green sectors on the board, but mostly just settling themselves into a rhythm they're comfortable with, not you pushing at the ultimate limit of the car. But someone who might want to push at that ultimate limit is the man in 7th. It's ET8 Spanias, who will want to try and get up a little bit just to get, you know, into the DRS range of Latifi. I keep saying Latifi, it's Lafiti. There's a change for the lead. Enzo and Paul did swap briefly, but Enzo wanted to give that place back. Enzo did want to give that place back. So really interesting to see what's going on in this race. Plenty of movement, but not much significant. But if you want green sectors getting set on lap 9 of 32. So interesting to see, you know, how all of a sudden maybe things are coming a little bit more alive, especially for these medium tyre runners. Their tyres will start to fall off relatively soon. And when that happens, that is going to be a real moment in this race to keep an eye on. But one man who is not going to be having a great race now is the man running in top place, Matthias, who has himself a 3-second time penalty to contend with, as does Nam. Profit, who has 6 seconds of penalties, and then Phil, Vec, and Phil in 17th as well. All got penalties to their name, and I'm noticing ET8 Spanias into the pit lane Is this a scheduled change of tyres, or is this reactionary to something going on around? No change of front wing, so it's not because of that. It's a legitimate change onto the hard compound tyre. That seems an early stop to me. Could this be an attempt at an undercut from ETA Spanias on the other drivers on those hard compound tyres? He will come out quite far down this order, is coming out there, and ETA Spanias not able to... Oh, it's a virtual safety car. Not sure what happened there. It's Kiki, lost the front wing, and not sure what's caused that incident, but a virtual safety car called out. Noticed there that Vask didn't come out ahead of ETA Spanias like I was expecting, and that was why I pulled up on that. But interesting to see damage to the front wing of Kiki there, running in 17th place now in this race, and that is not what you want at all when you are trying to get a good race. Unfortunately, that is so unfortunate there for Kiki, and not even likely to get anything in terms of benefit. But the safety car does mean the pin is pulled for loads of drivers in this race to take a real interesting opportunity to change tyres in this race, and that is such an opportunity for these drivers to capitalise on, and they will take it with both arms, no doubt about it. And absolutely brilliant stuff from everybody in this race now, because if we're going to get this race really cooking, a change of conditions will. And ETA Paul comes out in 7th place, 13 seconds behind those who were on the medium tyres, so a real benefit by pitting there for ETA Pool and those other drivers. And well, it's going to be a real scurry as everyone comes out of that pit lane to see what happens in this race. And well, everything so dramatic and interesting as now ILD Claudio leads the way, followed by EVE Lafiti in this race. Then OVR Lucas in 3rd place, Nam in 4th, Phil Vec in 5th, OVR Profit in 6th. But Phil Vec and OVR Profit are yet to pit off their medium compound tyres. As a change for the leaders, Lafiti takes that place from his fellow driver, and my telemetry has crashed. That is not ideal in the slightest. That is not ideal at all. But nonetheless, this race really just interesting to see what's going on in this race, and just really is, as I said, so interesting to see what's going on. He is now pulling up the lobby I'm in on the telemetry, which is really not ideal. Well, not ideal, but we've lost all of our telemetry and all of the information that allows me to tell you who's doing good and who's doing bad. But hey, we'll work on that quickly. But we've got a good race on our hands at the moment, irrespective of my problems. So, nonetheless, whilst I get that all back up, it's interesting to really see and delve in on what we've got right now. Got a real interesting mix in terms of our, you know, what drivers are doing, what strategies they're running fast. Gets a 3-second time penalty. That adds to his misery and woes in this race, unfortunately. And now Gatkowski sets the fastest lap of the race as things are. Another 3-second time penalty for Profit. So as the race really will begin to start to ramp up with 13 laps in, which I suppose, you know, ramping up so soon doesn't sound quite right, but everyone will have made their pit stop in, well, not so distant future. So, you know, we are getting towards that point. It's very interesting to see how this race is going to pan out. But Gatkowski really close to the back of Enzo. this is the fight for the provisional lead of this race, and that's important. Paul isn't in that P1 spot like he was when he came into the pit lane. He's currently in what would be provisionally third place. It's really difficult for him at the moment to see a good route towards the top, but now Paul is all over the back of Gatkowski as we head through sector number 3, and to begin lap number 14 as Philivek comes into the pit lane, as does OVR Prophet, who is having a miserable day of it at the moment. 9 seconds of penalties, a fastest lap though, going the way of TTM Nick, and that is exactly what he's going to want in this race. We are getting towards that halfway point in the race. We're on lap 14 of 32, and Gatkowski's trying to put that pressure onto Enzo as we start to get really into the groove of this race. That virtual safety car provided that ideal opportunity for many of these drivers to box, and now it is full blast to the end of the race. Unless you're in that top 4, at which point you've got to come in for a set of those medium compound tyres, but that's no problem. They'll give them plenty of grip and pace towards the end of this race. But lap 14 of 32, and well, you see this male, the Scarlet Red Ferrari, really trying to mount the pressure onto the back of Enzo, but Paul behind is trying to do exactly the same thing as we head through turn number 11 and 12 as they come out of it. It is the status quo, but once we head down the straight, anything is possible. The rear end getting loosey as we go into the final couple of corners, but that's to be expected. And now we begin lap number 15 of this race. Well, you see him all squirming down the straight. That's because they're going to give away that extra little bit of slipstream and pace and performance benefit that they could get. Well, if they don't want to give it to each other, they'll just move away. It's makes sense for them to keep their position. But as we head through the and towards Toza, and well, going to be an interesting race for this top 3, but they have got to be careful. They've got Eric Cohen in behind, and he's trying to gain on the minis, gaining on ever so slightly as Philivek gets a penalty. It's a 3-second time penalty. Now, plenty of drivers falling susceptible to the penalties here. Nice and easy to get those track limits penalties. It's such a difficult surface there. Really feeling a bit of heat from behind. And that's not just from the engine, that is from the car behind him of Windish, who is really putting that pressure on. IRT will be wanting a good result here as well. They were really up towards the top in seasons gone by, but it's not been the most ideal of starts for them, although we have only had 1 round of racing. But, you know, you can start to draw some conclusions about who is looking good and who isn't, and well, if your name is IRT at the moment, you will be looking for a little bit more, searching for a little bit more, but not really able to make the moves and gains and improvements they might be striving for. But someone who is making those gains is TTM Nick, who has set yet another fastest lap of the race and gained a little bit on Eric Cohen on that last lap, and that is maybe not what the Williams running in 8th would want at the moment. But as I've said many times, that top 4 yet to hit. There's plenty of time for things to change in this race, but over halfway distance now, and well, it is as it was, but it is certainly shaping up to be an interesting race as we go on to lap number 17 now. And when do these hard tyre runners pit? It's not looking like it's going to be too far away, because these medium tyres, they'll go about 12, 13, 14 laps at a push, but any longer than that, you're going to start losing time. So within the next couple of laps, we'll see that top 4 come in, and then this battle for the race win will really begin to heat up once more. But as things stand, Enzo in the net race lead, Gatkowski in 2nd place, Paul in 3rd, Eric Cohen running in the would-be net 4th place, Nick in 5th at the moment. But so much time for things to change in this race, and it is Imola where we are at, just to clear up the confusion in chat. Alex Kevin Gatkowski for the win. Interesting. And I can put on penalties for it. No worries. I'm noticing there is quite a lot on the board. So would be useful to see how many seconds everyone's got. And that is your current status. It's all important penalties. Who is looking good as another one goes out. And that's for ET8 Jamie. And in terms of those warnings, it is the man in 17th, Filivek, who has the most amount. Actually, no, it's not. It's Profit. Who's in 19th. 15 seconds of penalties. That is not what you want at all. As Astrord gets yet another penalty. Actually, that's their first penalty of the race so far. But here we go. It could be a change for the lead. And it is a change for the lead. It is Gatkowski, who was the pick for the win as a 10-second time penalty for ET8 Jamie. Surely he hangs up the racing boots. He absolutely has. And that is not ideal. His teammate is in the battle for the race win. And now he has no wingman. He has lost his closest ally, his biggest help and support in this race. His teammate is out of this race, has hung up his helmet because he has got a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's a real detriment to the chances here for Gatkowski, but TTM will definitely still have to fight for it because Gatkowski does not back down easy. He has never backed down easy, but not great for them in this race so far. Now having to search for that little bit more will be their team. I mean, really, not what you would expect to see from CPI. So, going to be interesting to see what's said to Jamie retiring. Really, really difficult and annoying for his teammate. But as that's a couple of drivers into the pit lane for a change of tyres and on to a set of the medium compound tyres goes Lafiti and goes Claudio as well. So really interesting to see them making that change. Lap number 19 of 32, got 13 laps to go. A good point and time to change over, and no doubt we will see Nam and OVR Lucas in the not so distant future. But lap 19, 14 laps to go in this race, and well, come the end of it, we could have a real great race. And in terms of telemetry, I cannot turn it on. I'm being instructed that I am not supposed to, out of fear of teams having a go at me because we're sharing ERS numbers. So it is annoying. I do sympathise with you on that one, but nonetheless, as we get through this, another 3-second time penalty for Profit. That does take them up to 18 seconds of time penalty. That is really, really damaging for the chances of a good race here for them. Just no chance of having a good race with so much in terms of penalties. But we go on to lap 20, and the other two drivers of Nam and Lucas into the pit lane, and now is the real battle beginning, because what can Lafiti, Claudio, Nam and Lucas do? They're on a set of medium compound tyres. They won't last quite as long in terms of the grip they'll provide, but better pace in the earlier stages could be of benefit and help to them, but it's very much anyone's guess as to what to expect. But 12 laps to go in this race. The focus very much on the man in front at the moment, Enzo, followed by Paul Gatkowski, Eric Cohen, who has caught very nicely in the last couple of laps. Caught about 0.6 of a second there as Matthias gets the 3-second time penalty. Nick, then Matthias, and Wingish there following Astrord and Spanias, as well as Lafiti, rounding out that all-important top 10. But Claudio, Nam, Lucas, Faust, and IRT Phil, all there in the hunt for some points in this race as well. But those time penalties towards the bottom end of this field could be quite damaging as Spanias makes himself up into 8th place for ET8. So that is a good gain for them when they needed it. And, well, the rear end does squirm a little bit there for Spanias, but still ahead nicely of Astrod for EXT. So nicely done for them, as now Top 10 Motorsport still leading the way at the moment, but you know, there's plenty of time for things to change. We've got a decent way still to go in this race. It doesn't seem like it, but we have got 12 laps of action still to come between now and that checkered flag. And once that checkered flag falls, it is anyone's guess as to when, we're going to start getting some real indication as to where these drivers are pace-wise as a collective team. But beginning lap number 22, and well, this top three could be a bit of movement about to happen here, as ETA Paul very close and very much nearly ahead, but not deciding to back off for that one as OVR Lucas, fastest lap of the race. And change of positions between 8th and 9th as Astrod and Spanias do swap places there, but you know, that's to be expected really. These drivers, they do like to swap places quite a lot when it comes to the racing action, but so great to see so many people on the YouTube at the moment. Over 50 of you watching us right now as we get towards the end of this race, and I mean, looking at it at the moment, it could be a real barnstorm at the end of this one, because Eric Cohen is gaining in on this top three as well, and that is going to be a real opening up an opportunity in this race. But those, 10th to 13th, they're going to be in for a hunt in this as well. No doubt about that one. They're going to have some great pace as Eric Cohen does get himself that little bit closer in the race, as another time penalty going the way of Profit, surely. Nearly disqualified, and there's a change for the lead. It's Paul in the lead. Gatkowski thinking about the overtake for second place, but can't take it. But a 10th separates the two as we go down towards turn number 5 and into Villeneuve. So close between this two. Can we think about the move into Toza? No move there on the cards, but great to see these drivers so close together, and you see in the background that Williams is coming, and that is exactly what you want to see. 2 seconds until another car is involved in this battle, and that could really open up the opportunity for even more cars to get involved and into this race. So it's going to be so interesting in a couple of moments time to see if Eric Cohen can get in the DRS on this lap, or if it's not to be just yet for the Williams. But as we go to the DRS detection point now, it does not appear that it is going to be DRS opening for Eric on this occasion, but not a million miles off at all. But notice Lafitte has got himself into 8th place. The medium tyres working well. Now got 3.8 seconds to find until the next car, but there's plenty of time to find these positions and get the moves done. So good to see everything happening at the moment as Nam gets himself ahead of his teammate, and Claudio does the same. And I'm not sure if I saw a bit of front wing flying. It did look it, but I can't really tell. It doesn't seem to be that, as OVR Lucas gets himself ahead. And those mediums, they are showing very well at the moment in terms of the pace they're providing and the grip they're providing as well. Look at how Lafitte is able to pull away on the exit of these corners from Spanias. The gap just opens up, by maybe a 10th of a second about every corner. And well, some corners like this one, you'll really benefit from that grip. And into the chicane as well was another very huge place where you can gain a lot of time. And you see how aggressive Lafitte was being through there as well, trying to get out of that DRS range, but not able to do it on that occasion. But nicely done to give himself a good margin to keep that place, and making those crucial gains to the cars in front as Profit. Another time penalty, now up to 24 seconds worth of penalties. That is a man having a bad day in the office, if I have ever seen. That is unlucky for profit, but we are so close towards the end of this race. We've got 8 laps to go. I want to hear your predictions. We've got a brilliant 4-car battle at the top. Eric Cohen has got himself into that very nicely. I want to know who you think is going to win this race. Will it be one of our top 4? Will it be anyone else? Who is going to win this race? Get your predictions in now, because we have got only 8 laps of action left here in Imola. I want to get your predictions. Please do put them into the YouTube chat. I'd love to hear all of them. I will read out some as they come through, but Lafiti done a good job to get out of that DRS range of the current car behind him. So Nam not going to get the benefit of that rear wing opening, and that could really begin to split up these medium tyre runners. In fact, it already really has. So brilliantly done from Lafiti as we move on to lap number 26, and we do have a change towards the top, and that is Gatkowski down the inside of ET8 Paul as Nick gets himself ahead of Matthias Wingish there, having to battle as well to try and get 6th place. Wingish really looking ballsy in that Mercedes, trying to get some more points for IRT, but OVR Lucas has retired. It's a safety car late on in the race, and that is adding drama to this race. His teammate has 24 seconds of penalties. OVR Lucas clearly has made a mistake. He's out of this race, and it is drama. Lap 26 of 32, 7 laps to go. And now this race has turned on its head, and it is anyone's game as to what is going to happen. 7 laps to go. We've got a safety car. This race is not over yet. This could be anyone's game. We did not see that coming. And now the penalties become even worse. Anyone who's got a penalty has been absolutely shafted by this, because it does mean that everyone's going to bunch up, and all of a sudden that benefit that they would have had, it's gone, it's lost, everything is over if you've got penalties now, because this field are going to be so close together. But who surely takes the gamble? Someone's surely going to gamble and not come into the pit lane, or is everybody into the pit lane? It looks like everyone's in. Everyone into that pit lane to change onto a brand new set of soft compound tyres. We've got a sprint race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, because when this race gets back up and running, we're only going to have about 4 laps of action, and then it is a sprint to the end of this one. Wow, we have had a real surprise and a real treat given to us for this race. It might have taken a while for it to get going. It might have taken a while for these drivers to ready up, but it can all be forgiven now, because we have got a race of absolute drama on our hands, and a difficult one going the way of Lafiti and Claudio, who are on a set of mediums on a compound that the rest of the field aren't on. Those soft tyres will not go off in 5 laps, I can tell you that. So, could be a difficult end to the race for Lafiti and Claudio, unfortunately for them. But for the rest of the field, could be a welcome change. They were on hards, most of the field at least, and now everybody is on the same compound. The chance of losing places has just got a little bit easier, but there again, the field has gotten that much closer. So drama and chaos right at the end of this one. And well, now it is anyone's game as to who wins this. It's just going to be very difficult if you are anywhere towards the bottom of the field, or if you're on that medium tyre with a penalty as well. That is going to be really difficult for if you got that penalty, but got a real interesting end to this race on our hands. We're going to have 4 laps of action once we get going. We should be at the end of this race, but drama really has come in here. Unfortunately, for many of these drivers, not working to the strategy they were after. Nam, Lafiti, Claudio, and Spanius Lucas, were on medium compound tyres when that safety car came out, and it means they've lost that advantage they had. A severe collision under the safety car, which probably will get reverted, going the way of IRT Phil for a severe collision with Ashtor. Don't believe he's got any damage out of that one. That's a good thing to check, because if that Mercedes has got front wing damage, that could be a real difficult way to end your race, and that is front wing damage to the back of IRT Phil, who is running in 13th. So the chance to negate the penalty, not really there now, because well, that 10-second time penalty plus the damage is going to really hamper the chances of a good ending to this race for Phil. But in 30th place anyway, not likely to get much out of this. But safety car in this lap, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to get Green Flag Racing back up and running, and this is going to be a dramatic end to the race, because now everyone's in for the chance, and chaos is going to no doubt ensue. Expect a spin, expect contact somewhere. Something is going to happen on this restart, because everyone is so close and bunched up together. But when does Enzo go? When does he decide to pull the plug? He's gone already. He's gone early. He's tried to catch Gatkowski napping. He has caught Gatkowski napping a little bit, but no more than Paul has been caught napping by the Scarlet Red Ferrari CPI Gatkowski, as now they head down towards turn number 1. And well, no movement here, but there is no doubt going to be plenty of movement there as Philly Vec gets himself ahead of IRT Phil, who obviously has that front wing damage. Not ideal for him in the Mercedes, but with plenty of pace and performance in these tyres, it's going to be interesting to see what the sector times say for all of these drivers, because those personal best sectors, those purple sectors, are going to be absolutely everywhere on my timing sheet. So I'm going to try and keep as informed on that as I can. But another 3-second time penalty for Profit, who is running in 17th place. That now puts him on 27 seconds of penalties in this race, and that is just so unfortunate for him. But now about to begin lap 30 of 32. We've got just 3 laps of action to go, and well, it is really beginning to ramp up now as everyone goes around, and DRS re-enabled as TTM Nick sets that fastest lap there, a 1:15.116, a good lap time from him, and well, very much showing some very good pace there for TTM. One car in the lead, and the other one running very nicely in 7th place at the moment. And well, if this is anything to go by, it could be a great race for them, as Phillyvet gets yet another penalty to add insult to injury for him. And now he's on 21 seconds of penalties. A lot of these drivers high on the penalty number, but at the end of the day, take it away, learn from it, and come back stronger. No doubt about that one. Unfortunately, though, really difficult for these medium tyre runners to make much in the way of improvements or gains, with even less time for those soft tyres to go off. But Paul is going to be trying to make that move on Gatkowski in a couple of moments. No doubt about that one for him. But now we are really getting towards the end of this race, coming on to lap 31. It is the penultimate lap of this race now. And these drivers have raced so hard for the last 45, 50 minutes. And when it comes to it, they don't want to ruin their race with a moment of drama. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach the end of this race. Do they go all guns blazing, or do they play it a little bit on the conservative side? But Enzo running in P1 at the moment. Gatkowski second, third for ETA Paul. Eric Cohen in fourth, Matthias in fifth, Wingish in sixth, seventh for TTM Nick, Nam in eighth, Audio ninth, Lafite 10th place in this race. But we are about to get the final lap of action underway. Wow, it could be a dramatic one. Do not move out of your seat for the next couple of minutes, because this is the race, the end of the race, the drama, the action. Look at the way that the weaving ensues as we head down the straight for one final time. And Enzo is going to be deploying all of the battery to try and keep this position. But Gatkowski pulls to the right, pulls ahead, and comfortably ahead. But look at Gatkowski pull, really trying to mount the pressure and apply it. But 6/10 the gap between the pair of them as Paul had to back out of the attempt. But Enzo going to get overtaken by Eric Cohen here. Oh, it could be dangerous between the pair of them as now we head down towards Toza for one final time. And we said about this being a possible overtaking opportunity, and it nearly was for Eric Cohen, who tried to make the move here on Enzo on the final lap of the race, but wasn't able to make it work. And now another penalty. The penalties are just everywhere in this race. But now Nick in 6th place, surely going to be thinking about the move here on Matthias here. And as now we head towards turn number 11. And now as we head into turn 11, and the overtake attempt was nearly on and nearly there for TTM Nick. But it wasn't to be, it wasn't. But one man who tried it all, had to put all of the cards on the table. Maybe a boring strategy, but from 2nd place on the grid, Gatkowski wins for CPI. Paul in 2nd, Enzo in 3rd, Eric Cohen in 4th. Nick there will finish in 5th after penalties are applied. Then Spanias for ETA. Lafite for EVE, followed by Matthias, Kiki, Astrod, Nam, Boyalulu, Claudio, Vask, and Wingish will round out your point scorers for this race today. But take a bow, Gatkowski, a winner once more in competitive speed series P1 once again. What a drive, what a day. Gatkowski, absolutely sensational. And to add insult to injury to OVR's day, disqualified for profit. Wow. What a race. Gatkowski wins in Imola. Emilia Romagna, it is CPI who take that win. Wow. Just sensational from CPI. Sensational, really, from everyone in this race. But, I mean, what a performance from them as a team. It does not ever get easy, but they certainly try and make it look easy to CPI, and well, they definitely tried their best, no doubt about that one today, but, you know, they could only manage one driver up there, they couldn't get the other, but it is still going to be elation for Gatkowski, who takes P1, but Paul in 2nd. Penny for his thoughts. Hopefully we'll get him in for an interview in a little bit. But Enzo in 3rd. Eric Cohen in 4th. Nick in 5th. Spanias in 6th. 7th there for Lafite. Matthias in 8th. They were big gainers from the penalty situation, but those penalties really did hurt, actually, Lafite and Matthias. Kiki in 9th there. Asteroid in 10th. Nam in 11th, Boyalulu in 12th place, and then, well, plenty of drivers beyond that point, but 3 drivers out, and Penny for their thoughts as well. Really difficult one for them, but hopefully we're going to get some drivers into the interview room, because I want to hear what they've got to say, because it's just so interesting to hear these drivers' perspectives after this race. They've been racing for over an hour. So we just hopefully get them in for an interview, and once we do, let's get really we want to hear their perspectives. They really have just had such a great race, and well, yeah, Paul, great race for him. The same can be said from Gatkowski, who, by the way, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this on live stream, has said he was sweating like a pig. Apparently it's like 40 degrees in his room. What? That is crazy. But, whew, we got to take that little bit of a breather. I do want to get, hopefully, the driver's thoughts in a couple of moments' time. But it was great to see so many of you there right at the death of the race. 58 of you there as we hit the checkered flag. So great to see. I'm not sure if we're going to get anyone here. Who's third? I'm really struggling. It is such a difficult race for all of these drivers, but hopefully we'll be able to get their thoughts in a moment. I do really want these drivers to get into the interview room. I want to hear their perspectives, and if I'm not able to, it's a little bit disappointing, so hopefully we'll be able to get them in. If not, we'll just wrap up. But yeah, what a race we had on our hands. It's really difficult, when you get a safety car so late on. It's easy to take that gamble and stay out on tyres that are maybe slightly more warm, but these drivers, they knew what was best. They came in, they changed all onto a new set of soft tyres, and ran to the end of the race. And they chose that right strategy. They made that work, and because everyone did it, no one really lost anything, but did shake up that order in the end. Those penalties, so crucial not to get them in league racing, because that is it. One moment like that and it all changes. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get any drivers, so we are going to wrap it up. But what a race we have had tonight. Imola really did throw all of the surprises we wanted, but next time out might throw even more surprises in, because we're heading to Saudi Arabia, then Azerbaijan for round number 4. We got a mystery round 4, round 5, then the Netherlands, break week, then Belgium, Qatar, Las Vegas. We have a further mystery GP for round number 10, and then Hungary and Japan to round out this season. But I think the most important one is Saudi Arabia in 7 days' time. That is what you are going to hopefully come back for in that 7 days' time. It will be great to see so many of you in the chat as always, and hopefully we'll see you all again next week. But until next time, when competitive series returns, until we do return, bye-bye.